Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Let's talk about it. Happy Monday to everybody. Look, man, we have a special guest. He's getting ready to come on. He actually covers LSU, and look, he did an incredible breakdown. His name is Carter from Power Hour LSU with Carter Power, and he broke down Miller Moss film pretty good. And we want to talk about that. We want to talk about some of the things that USC possibly has to be worried about, some of the things that LSU may be worried about. So look, we're gonna wait for a couple of people to come on in. We are currently on we're on YouTube as well as Twitter. So let's talk about this. This is a very, very anticipated matchup, the LSU game, man. Listen, the more as this week continues to go by, I am getting butterflies all over. You're talking about 20 years in the making. 2003, 2004, USC and LSU was really supposed to be matched up. So we're going to talk about this as soon as Carter comes in, man. You guys can drop those comments. Any questions you might have for him, put those questions in the chat, and we will get it to you, man, and try to get as many as we can. We won't get all of them, but we will get as many as we can. This is a powerful game, man. I've seen so many different analysts talk about this game, and I actually saw something from On3. They put this up. They said this is probably the most anticipated game. This is probably the game of the week. Of course, you guys know it's in prime time on a Sunday, so we'll be the only ones that's actually playing on that day. Most of the games will be on a Saturday, and I think, look, sky's the limit from what we do here, and I told you guys this as well. There's a lot on the line when you're talking about perception of this USC football program. When you're talking about recruiting, whether it's Jakeem Stewart, who's from the state of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to be exact, there is a lot on the line. We're going to talk about as well the similarities in this program. This program is very, very similar in so many ways. Heisman winners, both of them, Jaden Daniels, who's from the state of California, you guys already know. And then, of course, Caleb Williams. I mean, this thing is really, really moving and grooving. And I listened to several press conferences. Brian Kelly, we're going to talk about some injury stuff as well, whether these guys are all the way injured or not. But, man, you guys can drop those comments. You guys can tell me what you think. Very, very much anticipated. We're just waiting on this guest to come before we start getting into this information real quick. But how many remember 2003, 2004 season? That was the year that USC and LSU was supposed to be on the field. And I guess a lot of people on their part, they would argue that their team was the best team, right? We would argue that our team was the best team. Of course, we realize that it is the best team because of the weapons that we had, right? So look, man, we're going to talk about this tonight. So you guys just bear with me for a few minutes. We got this guest coming in tonight, and I'm going to greet some of these people. Albert, what's up, man? Hey, Jay, let me know if you're around Saturday, bro. I have an event in Pasadena. Okay, I doubt it, bro. I doubt I'll be there, man, but tap in with me on Instagram if you can. Hey, Jay, you heading to Vegas? I'm kind of 50-50 right now, man. I got some things going on with work right now. Look forward to seeing everyone at the meet and greet. Absolutely. Hey, man, hold it down. You hold it down as well, man. You hold it down as well. Raul, what's up, my man? Happy Monday to you, man. What's up? What's up, big dog? What's the word? Marvin, what's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Both sides are talking. Yeah, both sides are talking, and this fan base, both fan bases are getting heated up. And I know you guys saw where what's that guy's name? Excuse me, he has a LSU podcast, and that LSU, he kind of went to the deep end, man, but I don't even want to get into that. But give me just a second while we wait on this guest, man. Carter from the LSU Hour Power. Hey, fight on, my man, fight on. Hey, fight on. DT 818-819, fight on. They didn't want us to play LSU for the Natty. Absolutely. I believe that USC should have been all the way in the mix of that. You guys know, I mean, we had one of the best teams. We went to Auburn. You guys know my man Jaywalk was on that team, played Auburn, and absolutely blew them out. But then Auburn was actually let me see if he's okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna invite one guest on here, but while I'm waiting on my guest, and we'll get it rolling. I'm just gonna allow some fans really to come in just for a second, and we'll get it rolling. You guys got to excuse me because I got something in my throat and I cannot get it out. Let's see here. Let me get this link here for you. See if I can share this link to you. All right, here it is right here. Okay, there we go, right there. There we go, right there. We're gonna get a couple people to call in. And you guys don't have to put your camera on. But while we're waiting on this guest, man. So what are you guys thinking about this game? I sent a couple people the link. Let me catch him real quick while I wait on this guest. While we're waiting on the guest, Phil, my man, how are you?
Big J. Look, here we are. It's on Monday. What's up with that? Usually it's Fridays.
Yes. It's absolutely, man, it's incredible. This game, it's big time. And we got a special guest coming on. He's going to give us some information on LSU and what's going on with them. He did actually a good breakdown of Miller Moss, which I thought was real good. And so we'll kind of talk with him for a minute. But what's your thoughts, man? Your initial thoughts as we get ready to do this LSU game?
My initial thoughts are that the defense has been under management by a completely different crew than the entire nation watched over the last 2 years. So
right.
when you think about it, there was Alex Grinch and his people doing what they do. And, we saw in that first season an amazing almost, right? But that defense, that was the reason. That was the reason why it didn't work out. Then in the second season, boy, did it all come apart. Now, it's like a movie. It's like a Hollywood movie. Here comes an amazing cast of brand new coaches flying to the rescue of USC. And each of them are tremendous. How can this cast of incredible coaches not have a tremendous impact on all of these young players, many of them existing? And there's been this huge push for everybody to get stronger, get bigger, more physical, more athletic. And you can see the difference when you see these players walking out, touching the sword, going to the practice field. Big J, I think this is go time, like you like to say.
Absolutely.
I truly think we're going to shock the nation with this defense because USC under Lincoln Riley with a good defense is just a killer.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Bishop, salute to you as well. Roy Benuelas, Michael Benuelas, how are you doing, sir? I know you're getting ready to be at the game yourself. Christian, thank you for the super chat. You guys know who just came on. You guys got the skills. Me, I'm literally lost in the sauce right now with something in my throat. But
drink some water.
Yeah, I'm doing that. But yeah, we got a special guest coming on tonight. He covers LSU, and just momentarily he'll be here. But I'm expecting big things like you as well, Phil. And I think you cannot go wrong with DeAnton Lynn coming from the NFL and the scheme that he's coming up with. Sometimes he stacks the box, and what I love about this is him right here. He's on right now. So let me, I'm gonna take him, Phil.
Fight on,
and we ready to roll. Okay,
let's go.
All right, fight on. Thank you. All right, my man, how are you doing?
My man, lost in the sauce. What the heck is going on? Okay,
man. Hey, man, happy Monday to you, man. I really like what you're doing, man. I like what you did with Miller Moss. I kind of want to talk about some of that, man. I want to talk about this game. This game is, man, it's like 20 years in the making. Now you look a little younger than me, But we're talking about
No, I
2000.
was I was there in 2003
Oh, okay,
for the game.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
oh, so
was
you
there. I was all a part of it. I was part of like a big discussion a few years ago with another USC reporter, my buddy Matt Zimick, who's very talented. You should definitely have
Yeah,
him
I
on at
know.
some point.
No,
Yeah,
no, I know Matt. I've
yeah,
been
yeah,
on this
yeah,
show a couple of times. Yeah,
yeah,
I know
yeah.
them real well.
So
Yeah,
Matt had me on a few years ago to have a big debate about
really.
that matchup, and it would have been a legendary matchup. Obviously, both of those teams were better than Oklahoma, who was overrated with
Yes.
Jason White and Tommy Williams and those guys. But yeah, I think that game would have been very close. I do think that is the best LSU defense that they've ever had.
Yeah.
And they had Nick on the sideline, and obviously Nick and Pete, the best coaches, up to that point in their era, would have been a legendary matchup. But now we finally get to see these two legendary brands play, and that's why I'm flying to Vegas to go see it.
So with that being said, we essentially kind of been intertwined for years, almost together, just based on that history. And it kind of started with that. And I would say your fan base from afar probably has some type of animosity. Our fan base probably has some type of animosity from the perspective of the co-champion thing. You guys probably feel like it wasn't a co-champion thing. We probably feel like it wasn't a co-champion thing. We probably feel like we were maybe the outright champions. What's your thoughts on that aspect of it?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, either or were champions. I know that's like an unpopular LSU opinion, but obviously the tie should go to LSU, right? Because they actually went out there and won the game versus Oklahoma.
Right.
But it is like if they were to play, like if those teams were to play, obviously you would need. Let's just say LSU and USC played, and the game was in New Orleans. LSU is winning that game 9 times out of 10. Okay, if the game is in New Orleans, but let's just say you put the game in Phoenix or some warm neutral site place. I would say that LSU team probably wins 6 or 7 times out of 10 if they were to play. And once
I want you to remember who was on that team, right? For USC.
Okay, so run it down.
You're talking about Reggie Bush.
Okay, young Reggie Bush. All right.
Matt Liner, Lindell White. One of the best teams. But I can't argue with your point because at that time LSU, that defense was probably one of the strongest they've had in a long, and of course Nick Saban. But we'll actually never know.
Yeah, but never will. That LSU team never gave up more than 21 points in a game.
Now, yeah, I remember that.
You could make a case that they had not seen, USC offense quite like that one, and that USC defense was what that was. Was that Clay Matthews and those guys? I'm completely drawing a blank because I just did a 2-hour show on the SEC channel. That team.
Yeah, but the thing is, they USC went down there in 2002, and beat 2002, 2003, and beat Auburn the year before, I believe it was, and blew them out pretty good. That's when they had Jason White, Cadillac Williams, all those guys down there.
Oh, you mean Jason Campbell?
Jason Campbell. I said Jason White. Right. Yeah, Jason Campbell. And so, Pete Carroll was building something special. And so and that was against the SEC at the time. I don't think the SEC was as magnified as it was after Nick Saban really started getting a hold of it. I mean, when he started getting a hold of it, man, it was like, ESPN and the SEC really came in together, man, and really built the perception of the SEC, man. What you think? Would you agree?
Yeah. Okay. Here's one thing I would say, right? USC's weapons would definitely give LSU a lot of trouble in that game. And obviously USC's offense was better than LSU's offense, right? But I do think, once again, I'm as an LSU guy, I'm giving USC multiple wins out of 10. I don't think a lot of LSU fans would do that.
They wouldn't do it.
If the game was played in the Rose Bowl, I think you guys would win 6 out of 10, obviously as well, if not more. But it did help that national championship game was in New Orleans. I don't think anyone would lie to the contrary. And obviously LSU, all the national championship games they played in the last few decades have been played in New Orleans. it wouldn't have mattered where the 2019 game was played. They would have, destroyed whoever. But the truth is that 03 team offensively, LSU wasn't unbelievably explosive, and USC's offense was very much explosive. But I do think LSU would have still found a way to get enough on offense with the way Justin Vincent was playing at the end of the year, the way their offense was. And obviously, one of the best NFL offensive linemen of the past few decades is Andrew Whitworth. He was a offensive lineman on that team as well. They would have done enough offensively. But it is good that you finally do get this game played and you get
20 years later, man. 20 years later.
It's great. And
it's
you got
unbelievable.
You got all these great storylines too.
You got great storylines. Before I get into the actual game, what your thoughts is, I need to know this from you because I know LSU, they most of the fans from LSU, they label themselves as DBU and wide receiver U.
Yeah.
But I got to go against the wide receiver U. I'll give you DBU.
Okay. Okay. I'll listen. Yeah.
I think you got to give you. I think you got to put USC in there. And some magazines have them as some have LSU there, but some have USC there. Now I know you got Odell Beckham. I know you got some ballers there. I can't take no credit. Now my son is from Louisiana. But my wife is from Louisiana. So he's a huge. He brings it up to me all the time. We go back and forth. But what's your thoughts? Wide receiver U.
Versus USC, that's not even close. LSU is dust USC. Okay, so give me your top 5 USC wide receivers. Okay, but if we're gonna
in the past, you want to say what in the past
2 decades? Okay, Lynn Swann, of course, is
no. I mean Lynn Swann, Keyshawn Johnson. I would say. I got to go with Robert Woods. I got to go with Marquise. Well, hold on. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. Hold on.
Tree is the third name that comes out of your mouth.
No, hold on.
Hold on. You went Robert Woods.
I'm a Robert Woods. I'm a Robert Woods guy. I am a Robert Woods guy.
40-yard dash Woods. If
Robert Woods
runs a 40-yard dash Woods.
Hold on for a second. Hold on. Yes, Robert Woods. Robert Woods.
Robert Kennedy over Robert Woods.
Right. Listen, hold on for a second.
Robert Woods.
I go Robert Woods.
I thought this was going to be a conversation.
Hold on for a second. Hold on. I'm not finished. You need to listen. Are you there?
Robert Woods. Okay.
Hold on. I got Mike Williams. You know who Mike Williams is, right?
Yes. Did nothing in the league. Keep going.
Man, come on, man. You got it. Come on. We're talking about Mike Williams. I got Michael Pittman. I got Amon St. Brown. Okay. I got Juju Smith-Schuster. I got who else? I got Keyshawn Johnson. I got who else do I got? I got who else? Old school. I mean Curtis Conway. I don't know if you're familiar with them. And then I could go way back. RJ Sauer. I mean Johnny Morton. I mean those are other names that are further back. But of course, Amon St. Brown, Drake London. I mean you got several guys.
Wait, what about Nelson Aguilar? Did he go to USC?
Yeah, I think I said Nelson, didn't I? Did I say Nelson?
I don't know if you did or not. I was just trying to go.
Yeah. I said Nelson, but I mean, there's a ton of guys.
Okay, so all right. Here's what I'll say. I do a lot of fantasy drafts. All right.
Right.
And I've done 200 this offseason, so I'm an addict. I do like Drake London a lot going into next year. So I'm a big Drake London fan, and I've been very defensive.
I forgot about Dwayne Jarrett. Yeah.
Dwayne Jarrett, obviously, is really good as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with LSU. Obviously, a lot has changed in 2019. Okay. So obviously.
Don't let me forget about Steve Smith and Kerry Colbert. They're coming to my mind.
Okay. Steve Smith, obviously, great. Okay. But we're talking about Jamar Chase. All right. Jamar Chase, statistically, you can make a very strong case, had a better season than Devonta Smith, who actually won the Heisman Trophy. Okay.
He's a baller. I can't take nothing away
Yes,
from
okay.
Devontae, from Jamar Chase.
So if we're just talking about college, and a lot of those USC guys, let's be fair, that you just mentioned, did not pan out in the NFL. Okay. But if we're just talking about college, just for the sake of the argument, okay, Jamar Chase's single season clears anybody that you just named when it comes to a single season year of production.
I can't take nothing away
Yes.
from him. What he
Okay.
did with Joe Burrow, I can't take nothing away from him.
Okay. And then that same season, Justin Jefferson had more receptions than him. It wasn't as explosive. He was a slot wide receiver. Those two guys are, as talents, are better than anybody that you just named for USC.
No. Well, hold on for a second.
Who's
I'm gonna say this.
I would say USC Keyshawn Johnson was excellent. What
about Amon-St. Brown?
In college, those two guys dust him. And I understand Amon-Ra wasn't in as good of a system, and he played for Clay Helton.
Yeah. I think some of that has to be.
College players dust him. Now, when it comes to the NFL, they're all even though I still think Justin clears him pretty handily, even though he was hurt last year. Now, once again, I am drafting a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he has a legit shot. It's a long shot, but I think he has a legit shot to break some of Cooper Kupp's reception records in the NFL. I really do think so. He's an awesome talent. And like I said, I think Drake London has been in the absolute crappiest situation in the NFL. So I'm with you. And I think about
I think that situation could turn with the new quarterback.
Yes.
I like the chemistry that they have right now.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of money invested in those two players, like a lot. We're talking about hundreds of dollars because I've drafted them a lot. Okay.
So give me your five LSU receivers.
Okay. So obviously, if we were just looking at the past decade.
Hold on. As you name one, I'm gonna name one. Go ahead.
Okay. If you got to name all of yours. All right. If we
as you name, we're gonna say top five. As you name one, I'm name one, and we just kind of go like that.
So number one is definitely Jamar Chase. If we're talking about single season, or if we're talking about just college career, I would go.
Did he win the Biletnikoff Award?
Yeah, he won the Biletnikoff. Yes.
So I'll go with Keyshawn Johnson.
Okay.
Got one finger up too.
Okay.
We're gonna count them off. Who's your next one?
I would say Justin Jefferson would be number two.
I would say I still could go kind of high. These guys from late. I'll still go with, let me say, maybe Marquise Lee.
Okay, that's fine. All right. And then number three, I would say Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
And I'm still is Odell Beckham overrated in your opinion?
No.
All right. I'm not.
I could get into a large debate about that. So Odell.
I'll leave that alone.
Okay,
I'll leave it alone.
Right, yes.
All right. So then I'm gonna go. Then I'll go with who did I say first? I said Keyshawn.
Keyshawn and Marquise. I was kind of shocked with Marquise Lee number two, but keep
I mean, because you gotta. I'm gonna include all those guys. I think I'm gonna include them in my top five, but I'm gonna say Amon-St. Brown. I love Amon-St. Brown, and of course I'm gonna
that's fine.
I'm gonna say Drake London.
Okay, that's fine. All right, and then my fourth would probably lean Jarvis Landry. Okay, multiple-time Pro Bowler, and he went to the Pro Bowl with some of the worst quarterback play you'll ever see from a Pro Bowler with different teams. So I would.
It's kind of hard to do five. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do five, but Steve Smith, Gary Kerber, yeah.
But then I did not go to the guy who had the better career than all those guys, which is Malik Neighbors, okay, who lost in one of the most controversial Biletnikoff voting situations we have ever seen. If we were to be completely honest about the Biletnikoff, there was a lot of – and look, Marvin Harrison was absolutely positively stupendous. And
Can I count Jordan Addison?
Yeah, no, Jordan Addison is great. Jordan Addison is great. I mean, okay, you never mentioned him. He was absolutely great. Okay, now, it was a transfer, but he was still great with Caleb Williams. I will definitely say if we are going to go all the way back, all right, pre-2000s, all right, yes, USC definitely has LSU beat, definitely does pre-2000s, but I didn't get into Josh Reed. I didn't get into Michael Clayton. I didn't get into one of the more underrated NFL and college receivers of the modern era, which is Dwayne.
What's the short guy? No.
Trenton Holiday. I mean, he was a good returner. But Dwayne Bowe at LSU was also very, very underrated for the Kansas City Chiefs because he put up Pro Bowl seasons. Once again, one thing working against LSU is a lot of their receivers did not go to good situations, okay? And they still made Pro Bowls and they still produced at an extremely high level. And Dwayne Bowe was one of those guys, right? He played in the Kansas City Chiefs era right before Alex Smith and the Mahomes era. So yes, if you were to just count numbers, like just pure volume, all the way
we deeper.
Yeah, I will get
we're way deeper.
All the way back to yesterday.
Yeah,
for sure.
We're deeper.
But if we're talking post,
but this is what makes. But hold on for a second. That's what makes wide receiver you, right? Because we're talking about as a whole, right? Not just the past few years. Wide receiver you.
No, I will definitely like. Lynn Swann was freaking ridiculous. He was the best receiver of that era.
You got John Jackson, and there's so many that I didn't even know.
I would not argue against that. What I would tell you though is LSU still had guys like Eric Martin in yesteryear, but no one knows who that is, right? He was still a really good player and had a really good NFL career. Okay, but if we're talking post 2000, it's not close. And then on top of that, if I was a recruit, I would much rather go play wide receiver at LSU because
no. Hey, now that is an absolute false statement.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry. Hey, look, you're not.
Are you kidding me? Are you really going to make? Are you really going to make?
Yeah. Hey,
two receivers in the first round last year. Two receivers.
Hold on. But that was last year. I give you that. But you got to remember, in the past few years, you had Jordan Addison, Michael Pittman, Amon-Ra Brown. You had other guys that were Velus Jones, who's with the Chicago Bears, who was actually on there as well. But I'll leave that alone. We'll get into this game because we can talk about this all day. Because
all right. No. Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Okay, because I could debate this on one. Okay. I was just very shocked you went Robert Woods out of the gate.
No, Robert Woods was a baller. Man, Robert Woods was a baller.
I'm not saying
did he not ball at Buffalo?
And then also, I saw someone, I haven't been able to read the comments. I saw someone say running backs, and I will tell you this. About running backs between LSU and USC. It's still LSU. No, I'm kidding.
You got to be kidding me.
No, settle down. I will tell you, and I won't say who this is publicly, but one of LSU's best running backs, okay, of the past couple of decades.
Kevin Falk.
Kevin Falk didn't play at LSU. He's from New Orleans. Okay.
No. Wait.
No, hold on. Just let me finish. Let me finish really quickly, okay? This will get all you guys excited, okay? I will say that there is a very prominent LSU running back of the past couple of decades, and I'll leave it at that. He idolized Reggie Bush, okay? He told me this privately. He was like, Carter, I wanted to be Reggie Bush. And he was like, I loved LSU. What?
I'm trying to think who you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll never reveal this, but I'll put it like this, all right? He was heavily thinking about going to USC because of Reggie Bush. I mean, that's how much pull Reggie Bush had here. Now, it did help that he did go play for the Saints, so that helped with his Louisiana popularity. But I asked him, I was like, is it because he played for the Saints? He was like, yeah, it's part of it, but it was also because he was Reggie freaking Bush. So I will say that Reggie Bush had an impact on every running back recruit I've ever talked to. The same way that Tyrann Mathieu had the same like nationwide impact as every single DB, right? Ask any high school DB recruit. They're like, whose highlight tape do you watch? Well, they say Tyrann Mathieu. Ask a lot of running back recruits. You ask them, which highlight tape do you go back and watch? Well, guess what they say? They say Reggie Bush. So, I just wanted to bring that up. It just kind of came to me. It's not a story I made up at all. And I still talk to him. We still talk about how much I love Reggie Bush. And guess what? I was the same way. My favorite running back growing up was Reggie Bush. Okay.
Yeah, he was
My
that dude.
favorite wide receiver growing up was Peter Warwick. Okay.
Florida State.
And
Yeah.
yes, and Peter Warwick actually was jumped on my channel for a brief period last year. So my question to you is, can we get Reggie Bush on here right now? Is he in your phone?
No. Well, my buddy played with him on the national championship team.
Okay, well, let's get him on. Call him up.
He got him.
Already up. He's not doing
maybe one of these days we can get him on here. Matter of fact, I need everybody to go subscribe to his channel, and we about to get into this game because he does Carter. Even though we got some differences, he does a phenomenal job. This is his channel right here. I'm putting it in the chat, and I'm gonna put it up here. It is Power Hour LSU with Carter the Power. So look, man. I enjoyed that brief conversation on wide receiver.
I love it.
So we're looking at this game now, man, and as we stated, the history is there, and now we come up this week. And both of these teams, we're talking about the similarities, man. I guess let's deal with the similarities first because both of them now new defensive coordinators. Both of them losing Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that when you initially think of these two teams, man, when you're talking about this matchup coming up this week?
Yeah, so I appreciate Justin's comment. I know a lot of people think I'm an idiot because I get very crazy on here. But I take football analysis very seriously. And I'll say this. I am not a former player. I am not a former coach, but I do film analysis every day on my NFL channel and on the SEC channel and obviously on the LSU channel. And I just did my first Miller Moss deep dive. So
you did a good job on that. You guys go take a look at that.
Yeah, I really appreciate that because what I did was I actually watched the full game 2 times through, and then I did the film analysis. And I always ask myself, how elite of a throw was this? How many replacement level quarterbacks can make this throw? And Miller Moss had 4 throws for me in that game that were extremely high level throws, like what you expect NFL quarterbacks to do. And that is really impressive considering he's not played a whole lot. And, like you were saying, the comparisons with both teams coming off of Heisman trophies. Well, honestly, LSU and USC are very much the same programs. The only difference is LSU has had more success in the first 2 years under Brian Kelly than USC has had under Lincoln Riley. But even then, that's close, right? Both teams have had a lot of success. Both teams have had historically bad defenses compared to their recruiting expectation. Both teams essentially replaced all their defensive staffs. Both teams replaced their defensive coordinators with guys that love to blitz with simulated pressures and Blake Baker and DeAnton Lynn. I'm actually a big fan of DeAnton Lynn. I even said it last year. I have a UCLA film buddy who loved him. All right. So you look offensively, obviously Miller Moss and Garrett Nussmeier are very similar players, right? Both top 100 recruits in the class of 2021. Both guys that stayed patient with their original school in the transfer portal era. Both quarterbacks 6'1" with above average to very, very good arm strength. Both quarterbacks aren't unfreaking believably mobile, but they can run through zone read and scramble kind of principles. Both teams or both of these quarterbacks are not bashful from making very difficult throws. So Miller Moss, who made very difficult throws in the UCLA or in the Louisville game, the same thing is true with Garrett Nussmeier. For quarterbacks that have not played a whole lot, and Nuss has played a little bit more than Miller Moss, both of them make really, really high-level throws despite having little action. And I can't state how hard that is to do, USCJ. So it is truly impressive what these two men have done. And you have to give them a lot of credit in the portal era for not doing not going somewhere else, taking a 6-figure sum to go start at Norfolk State or wherever. And then you get to USC skill guys. USC's wide receiver room with Jacoby Lane and Lemon and obviously Zachariah Branch is really good. LSU's wide receiver room is a little bit older, and they're also very good. So we're going to see a matchup between two very good skill guys. But I will say, like, I was thoroughly, and I watched the game when it actually happened, USC versus Louisville. But
were you shocked? Were you shocked at all?
Yeah, I was not because LSU recruited Miller Moss really hard, later in the cycle back then.
Right.
And I was like, I remember watching his high school tape and liking it. And I grade every high school recruit that LSU was after on my own scale. And I liked it. I liked what I saw at the time. But I was very, very floored with how good Miller Moss was in this game. Yes, it is a bowl game, and bowl game data, especially now, could be very difficult to rely on. But F that. I mean, once again, four throws were really, really high level, and two in particular, when he hit Malachi Lane in stride, or Malachi Lemon in stride, in Lemon's first catch of the game. By the way, Lemon had also not played a whole lot beforehand. That was one of the best throws I'd seen any college quarterback make. And the touchdown reception at number 10 on last year's team, his name slips my mind, was a tight window red zone throw that you only really see NFL quarterbacks do. So I was very, very impressed with Miller Moss, and we'll see how he does versus LSU on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. That's the Kyron Hudson that you're referring to. And shout out to Don's Specialty. He says, I'm here. Go Tigers. So when you look at this game, what advantages would you say? Because I know you probably study both the tapes, both film, both offenses. What advantage would you say that LSU has, and what advantage would you say that USC has right now, just given the film that you've watched?
Yeah, USC definitely has an advantage of wide receiver going up against a very inexperienced group of corners from LSU, right? They've had some young guys jump some of the older guys, and LSU will have Ashton Stamps, a year 2 corner who
you had practice sometime, right?
No, I don't go to the actual.
I thought you would. Okay.
Yeah, no. I do a lot of practice breakdowns, and I talk to people every day that go to LSU's practice.
Okay.
But media and people like on the staff. But Ashton Stamps has really been the alpha, year 2 guy. Lots of talent. Was only a 3-star, but he's a grinder. And the opposite corner from him will also more than likely be a younger player, a guy like PJ Woodland, who's also a true freshman. But they have Sage Ryan, who is a former 5-star, who's also back there. But this is a secondary that is just very inexperienced. And even their experienced guys coming back weren't really all that good last year. So I do like Lemon in that matchup in particular. His style should suit really well with how LSU wants to play defense. So I do expect a pretty good game from I think he wears number 6 now for USC. And obviously, a 6'4" receiver like Lane can give some issues to LSU's DBs that are around 5'11", 5'10". And then, of course, you have Zachariah Branch, who's, probably one of the most talented players with the ball in his hands in the entire country. So obviously, USC's skill guys are very inexperienced, but they're very freaking good. Where LSU could have an advantage is with Harold Perkins, right? This is a brand new Harold Perkins who's wearing the number 7 uniform. He was the best defensive player at times in the country as a true freshman. And now he's playing a new role that he's finally feeling.
That's what I want to talk about, that because it seemed like he was explosive coming off that edge.
Yeah.
So, how comfortable do you think he'll be, being that this is not like a Middle Tennessee State that you're trying to break him into at that position? How comfortable do you think he'll actually be coming into that? And he's not even that. I thought he was bigger than what he was. I think I looked at his weight. What is he, like 6'1", 215?
Yeah, but he's put on a lot of weight. He's at 222 right now.
Okay, so he gained a little weight.
Yeah, so he had the good. So USCJ, this is where he got the best news in the world. When you're told in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, hey, you need to go gain weight and still be as athletic as you are. So he just like, okay, I can eat. So he was going everywhere, eating all the good food in Louisiana. Obviously, good weight that he added. I think he's going to be really good this year. I really do, because Blake Baker is a really, really good defensive coordinator and a really, really good coacher of the linebacker position. I'm interested to see what Lincoln Riley wants to do with the run game, because where most people view LSU's weakness is up the middle. They're not particularly deep. We're talking about that 03 team that had Marcus Spears and Kyle Williams. That's some of the best linemen you'll ever see. And this year, it's not quite the case, but this is a group that is playing better and better and better. So just in practice. So that's where I think, USC, if they can get the run game going, that could get LSU off kilter as far as putting numbers in the box and so on and so on. So, yeah, I would, especially considering Lincoln Riley is a great play caller with time to prepare. We saw what he did in the Miller Moss Louisville game, and he's going to have all this time to prepare for LSU. I do see USC's offense having a somewhat good day. I see them scoring in that 27, 28 to 35, even in the 40s range. But where USC,
in that game.
Yeah, I think USC can have a really good day offensively, and I've not shied away from that. And obviously, that gets some of my viewers angry, but USC's offense should be pretty good this year. They should. But what I would tell you is LSU's defense has gotten better, and people that I trust for information, they're getting better and better. They have had better days versus a really talented NFL-filled LSU offense. So that does give me a little bit more hope. And Blake Baker is really good as a defensive coordinator. Same could be said about D'Anton Lynn. So
yeah, well, let's talk about while you're on that real quick, Blake Baker, because he has tendencies. He likes to bring a lot of pressure, and he does it from different angles. So from a scheme standpoint, because when you look at last year too, I think they finished out in number. Let's see where I have it at. Number 33 overall in total defense. And that was against LSU. He actually, the score was 49-39. LSU ended up winning that game. But Nussmeier threw for like 259 yards, 3 TDs. So do you think that scheme? Well, first, let me ask you this. Do you think they have better athletes on that Missouri team than they do on this current LSU team?
No. That
Deep,
Missouri,
from a depth standpoint.
Yeah, from a depth standpoint, LSU's probably deeper, but that Missouri team had
some big dudes, man.
Yeah, no, they were good. I mean, they had 4 draft picks in the first couple of rounds. I think they had 5 defensive players selected. So yeah, his personnel on last year's team, particularly on the first unit, which is better than LSU's first unit this year, but it's probably not as big because those players have gotten better going into this next year. And Blake, I really do think is a good defensive coordinator. Just a little behind the scenes, like I was a big proponent of LSU going after Blake Baker even before the job opened up. And I'm glad they went in that direction. And Matt House was one of the worst defensive coordinators we have ever seen. At least from what I understand with Alex Grinch, like players didn't just outwardly hate the guy, unless you might disagree with that. There was a lot of people on LSU's team that was more excited that Matt House, the individual, was no longer their coach.
Well, we kind of dealt with I don't know if you noticed, you saw a different defense in the Louisville game. We didn't look like that all year. And I don't know if you watched the game. You said you watched it, but one of the defenders came by, the cornerback, Jacoby Covington, after they had a big time stop. He said, we're a team now. We're a team now. He came yelling that off the field. There was some stuff going on, man. And I think, people don't factor a lot of that stuff in play as far as the chemistry, along with the actual play on the field and the scheme. I don't think one time he was in the huddle. They were in the huddle with Alex Grinch, and it's like they totally didn't pay him any attention. So
okay, so they
it was kind of a similar, similar situation.
So basically, we went through the same thing, like we stated at the beginning.
Yeah,
I didn't know how much they hated Grinch. I was shocked that he lasted another year at USC, but good for him getting another 7-figure paycheck for doing basically nothing. But switching over to LSU's offense. Man, their offensive line is good. I think this is the best LSU offensive line, blue chip wise, that they have ever had. And I also
that's what I hear a lot of people. So when they say actually ever had, and I talk to you about what is your main concern? You said our receivers. I would say the offensive line for LSU would probably be the biggest concern. Just making sure we're able to, maneuver around them. So is this the actual best ever? I hear a lot of people saying that.
It's definitely their best pair of offensive tackles, as both of those guys are the number 2 player on Nate Tice's top 100 big board, and the number 6 player on Nate Tice's top 100 big board in Will Campbell and Emory Jones. Their offensive guards are really good. Garrett Dellinger is a multiple-year starter, former top 150 recruit, and their other guard was one of the best transfers. He is potentially out for this weekend, but I do think he'll be good enough to go, Miles Frazier. The only new piece is their center, DJ Chester, another top 104 star. I think that will be the offensive line that they roll out with, and they're
What
just
about
really
now? What about let's see, because there was a couple of injury updates. Chris Hilton
like I just
and Miles Frazier.
Like I just said, Miles Frazier is banged up. But Chris Hilton, obviously, he could be out. I don't think that's too big of a deal because LSU's wide receiver room is very, very deep. And as someone mentioned, LSU has a really good tight end, Jason Taylor's son, Mason Taylor, who will be a 3-year starter, and his backups are 2 6'6" top 100 recruits. So this offense is very loaded. Running back room is pretty talented as well. You know, they have 2 year 6 guys that were on the 2019 national championship team, and then they have their version of Lindale White back there and Caleb Jackson. Very similar players. Caleb has a little bit more juice as far as like top end speed compared to Lindale White. Lindale White, of course, was a more pure runner. He was a more seasoned runner. Caleb Jackson, of course, is trying to get to that level. So this offense should be pretty good. The biggest question mark, though, is that they did lose their play caller. The reason why LSU is okay with that is because, well, the guy who sat next to the play caller in the booth for the last couple of seasons is now calling the plays. And he also has play calling experience in Joe Sloan. So the biggest advantage USC has in this game, coaching-wise, is Lincoln Riley as an offensive play caller. But overall, LSU, this is one of their better on-paper coaching staffs, all the way down to the position coach switches that they've made that they've ever had at LSU. And that's really saying something.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm going to answer a couple of these questions. You guys send a couple of questions in as we go. This is USC Priority. He says, how do they plan on using Harold Perkins, Jay, and Mason Taylor?
Yeah, so we talked about Harold Perkins. He'll be more of an off-ball guy. But on third down, they'll get him on the line of scrimmage and use him quite a bit. One thing I think that they will do is USC is really good at, and Lincoln Riley as well, as having answers on third down for blitz packages. So a lot of USC's offense in the air raid, a lot of air raid answers to blitzes is just a simple shallow
screen.
Yeah,
or a screen. You know, and we got a guy like Woody Marks who's played against you guys.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable.
Woody's a really good player, and he's had some success versus LSU. But obviously, USC, a big part of their offense is going to be shallow drags. That's what the Louisville game, that was a big part of what they did. That's what they did on the first Taj Washington touchdown. I think LSU is going to do a lot of crowding at the line of scrimmage, and what you'll see is they'll show a double-A gap pressure and bring one and back one out to guard against that, and just pattern match that over the middle of the field to guard against it. That was one thing that Louisville didn't do a good job of adjusting, and Lincoln Riley did a good job of keeping attacking the middle of the field in that aspect. So we'll see what they decide to do to stop it. But USC's offense is going to be really, really, really tough to stop, and I think Harold Perkins is going to be one of those guys. Mason Taylor, I think as a receiver, he's not really deadly after the catch, but he is a good receiver. Where he can really kill USC is in the run blocking game. Mason is a really good run blocker, and more importantly, he has really good chemistry with LSU's offensive tackles when they do tray blocks and move ends, and they are really good at displacing ends. That could be a really, really tough night for USC's defense, right? Mason was the number 1 run blocking tight end in the SEC last year. So you do think of him more as a receiver and all that, but as a blocker, he's really, really, really good.
Yeah, I think I heard about him. Is that the guy that's like 6'7"?
No, so that's actually not the 6'7" guy. They actually have 2 backup tight ends. One's a 6'7" 5-star and Trades Green, number 14, and the other is a 6'6" year 2 tight end in Kamarion Pimpton, who has one of the longest wingspans of any high school football recruit of all time. So those are Mason Taylor's backups. And if one of those guys plays a lot, one thing that LSU can do more of is run 12 personnel, run more 2 tight end sets. And, if USC doesn't feel comfortable about their front 7, I do like USC safeties. I know you brought the one in from UCLA and one in from Kentucky, I think. That they've graded really well on PFF, and they seem to be pretty nice players. I could see LSU doing a lot of 12 personnel, trying to bring, more of those safeties into the box. And then after that, if you can run the football, then the deep shots can open themselves up as you have to bring more people in to defend against the run.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think our secondary, honestly, I think it's going to be our biggest strength. As you alluded to, we brought in safety Kamari Ramsey, who was on that UCLA defense. He's going to be playing safety. Then we brought an Oregon State All-American safety, Akili Arnold. Then we bought Nicholson from Mississippi State. He's a 6'4" corner. And then we brought another UCLA corner in as well. He's a 6'3" corner, Humphrey. So secondary, if anything, I think that's going to be the strongest position. Then we got Grady Vance from Florida State. He's going to be playing nickelback for us. So I think we're going to be pretty strong as far as the secondary. So we'll have to kind of see how it plays out on the defensive line against the best offensive line, because that's going to be a task. However, according to DeAnton Lynn, he did say the other day, he didn't say we were bigger, but he said we had more depth across the defensive line than he had at UCLA last year. That was his statement. He brought it up. And believe it or not, we actually have more depth, according to him. Now, as far as size-wise, we gained 1,400 pounds across the board from a team-wise. So, a lot of people kind of alluding to the fact that USC has a smaller team. I think they're going to be surprised. These guys, matter of fact, there was a guy that actually matched up your offensive line size-wise compared to USC's defensive line, and USC's defensive line wasn't far off as far as the weight-wise. However, you can't always exchange the weight for the experience, but that's going to be a tough. That's the battle I think everybody wants to see, and I think that's where you guys going to come in. I believe you guys going to try to control tempo with running the ball. I believe that.
What's USC special teams looking like? I've not looked up their special teams at all.
Well, we're okay now. We just got a special teams coach. Matter of fact, he's just promoted to special teams coach. Of course, you guys know we got Zachariah Branch. Good luck if you decide to kick to him. That's a whole. I mean, that's a whole nother story. But right now, I think our special teams. We're working on special teams. In the past, we was lost in the sauce. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The past couple of years. But that's even more so why we needed a special teams coach. But we got one now, Doherty, that's been with Lincoln Riley for a while. And so now he's promoted. What about you guys on special? I heard you guys are kind of lost in the sauce with special teams.
Yeah, it's not been the best under Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
So the first year was the worst special teams unit in LSU history. And I don't think that's hyperbolizing that at all. Last year, they were a lot better. They returned their kicker for 3 years, Ramos, who is really solid. Punter is a question mark. They're still deciding between their punter. They do have a new special teams coach as well. And it's been mostly first year wasn't good overall. Second year, it was a little bit better. Third year, their return games should be better. But we'll see how the punting situation turns out. So we'll see. But I do have to go, and if that's okay with you. All right.
No. You good. We're done anyway. I want to get a score prediction. Listen, we got 409 we got 409 people in here. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you subscribe to his channel. Give me a score prediction before we get out of here, man. We almost been on here for an hour anyway. I don't like to go over for an hour anyway. But
okay.
Give me a score prediction.
So here's what I'll do. Okay. I will post. I was actually shocked because, I got 1,000 different things. I don't know if you do this full time, but I do. I highly recommend no one do YouTube full time. It's
no. Hey, this is is that you that put that in there?
Yeah. So
yeah, that's right there. Yeah.
That's the link to the Miller Moss film study. Okay.
Hey, listen, everybody go watch that Miller Moss. He did a great job breaking Miller Moss film down. You guys know I wouldn't put it out there if he didn't. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. I really appreciate him coming on.
Yeah,
but go ahead real quick.
Yeah,
what
so go watch it. I will tell you this, okay? There have been more USC fans that have commented under it than LSU fans. So if that tells you if it's unbiased or whatever, but I try my hardest to look at things unbiased, even though I'm a diehard LSU football fan. I do think LSU wins this game because I do think they will be able to run the football. Obviously, Bear Alexander scares everyone. He's a really solid player. But I do think LSU will be able to run some outside zone. I do think they'll be running a lot more to the outside over this next year. They've been more of an inside zone team in the first couple of years under Brian Kelly. But I do think LSU will be able to have enough defensively to win this game. Now, one of my bolder predictions in this game is you will see a defensive touchdown by either one of the teams. I also think there could be two combined. I think there will be one defensive touchdown. I also think there will be one special teams touchdown. Okay. Now, whoever gets those touchdowns, I think will win the game. So I will go LSU winning this game in an all-timer, 38-35. Why not?
Sure. I said 41-28 USC. That's
okay.
I'm sticking to that. I think we're gonna come out guns blazing. I think your cornerbacks are kind of suspect, and I think if we come out guns blazing, we can get up a couple touchdowns. All we have to do is maintain. I think and stop the run. If we get a couple third down stops, I feel like we're good, man. You can come back on after, man, whether we lose or not. And we'll talk about it, man. We'll do a recap.
Okay, let's do it too. We'll talk soon.
Hey, man, make sure you guys subscribe to Carter, man. I definitely appreciate him coming on, man. Carter, man, take care, my brother. Stay blessed, man.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked. Like I felt like I complimented USC a bunch, and people are still after my neck. So that's perfectly fine.
No, they're not. No, man. They got love for you, big time, man.
Hey, that's fine. Bring it on. I might get you on my channel before the end of the week. We'll talk soon. Okay.
No doubt, man. Hey, stay blessed, man. Hey, appreciate you. All right. Hey, so look, man, I am getting ready to get out of here, man. I appreciate Carter for coming on. You see he's well informed on the program. And listen, I think we're going to put it on him. That's my opinion. I think it's going to be 41-28. I'm sticking to that. I kind of put that score out there a couple of weeks ago. And, I said, you know what? Maybe I'll scale back from that. But guess what? I feel real good about this right now. I'm not scaling back from that. I think it's going to be 41-28. USC is in the building, man. So, look, man, I'm out of here. I am not doing a video tomorrow. This video, I wanted to carry on because I want people to see this. Sometimes when I do other videos, it kind of those views get overshadowed by the views. So I want everybody to see his information, things that he was talking about in reference to LSU. So I'm not doing anything, man. So, look, I'm out of here. I appreciate everybody. Plus, I did another one already today, early this morning. And now this one. So look, until later on, everybody stay blessed, man. Fight on, fight on, fight on.